And I'm going to run through the 5 positions on this guitar. You have a 5-position toggle switch right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I start down here like the Hendrix tone. And we're going to go from there. And someday I'll get a strap that will actually stay on. Won't that be interesting? But my strap locks don't fit on this thing. Okay. Actually, you know, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to start all the way down and give you my my rock sound, which I think is just essential. Plus the rock sound. I'm into the Marshall sound and sustain, you know. So Eric Johnson would be the first guy I tell you to go see him. Frank Gambale, these guys all get massive sustain. So, you know, Van Halen. Michael Landau is another guy, he's a great guitar player. But they have the rock sound plus sustain. Let's go back to YouTube. Eric Clapton doing Spoonful Live, Jimi Hendrix, the same thing. That's where I'm coming from. A lot of meat and potatoes, lots of sustain, and just a kind of a gnarly, nasty little tone. So I don't know if you can hear that. That's what I'm talking about. Meat and potato sustain. It's got a lot of give. You know, when you hit a string, I'll teach you about the vibrato and everything. But when you hit a string, you don't want it's so brittle that it just rips your head off. You want this thing to have some give to it. You know, like. You know, it's fairly easy to hit these strings and make them vibrato, you know. So anyway, that's part one. That's my all the way down position. I call it position 5. I don't use it for rhythm sounds very much. Which I'll show you the other ones that I do. Pretty much that's, you know, if I'm playing English rock, you know. That's what I use that for. When I go to 4, this is like for country picking. I'm not a very good country player, so I probably won't play very much of that, but I am into the funk thing. And so one thing that you want in your arsenal is you want this funk tone. I call it the Madonna, Nile Rodgers, Paul Jackson Jr. Check those guys out. It's kind of a thin funk tone. I can bring it in with my mid-range boost and fatten it up. And you can use it for maybe some Stevie Ray kind of stuff if you're playing funk. You can add chorus to it, which is kind of cool. Anyway, I love this little amp. If I didn't mention, I'm using a Hafler 3-channel preamp into it with a quad reverb, and that's it. That's my rig. I mean, you see these guys with Hughes Marshalls behind them. This little 50-watt Vox amp that I'm using with it, 8050, unbelievable. I mean, I got this thing on 3. I can't believe it. But anyway, my Hafler, this thing says a Digitech, but it's a Hafler T3. Very, very clean channel. Second channel is a little more dirt, and the third channel is like super sustain. It has a patch called Cliffs of Eric, and you know, Eric Johnson, Cliffs of Dover. It's got unbelievable sustain. It's got mellow, warm tone, too. It just doesn't take your ear off. It's got this give. I mean, it's so much fun to play on a gig. So Anyway, I can use this fourth position for lead solos too. It doesn't have as much bite as I'll show you. I'll play the all the way down position. The English rock thing. This one's a little darker. So if I want a little less, a little darker on my lead tone, then I would go there. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, the country thing doesn't sound much like country. But country guys will use it on a Strat. They use tellies, but on a Strat they're going to use that position and maybe even this really clean. But I'm not a country player, and I love them, but I can't do it, so I'm going the next position, which is the blues position to me on a telly and on a Strat. Middle position, you back off your presence, kind of get a thin tone. I like to, go YouTube Albert Collins, I'm going to put a little more treble on it, you get the idea. Something like that. That was kind of sloppy, but you got the idea. And this is also in the 50s when you were playing rhythm, all you did is that's where that came from. Middle position, telly, Strat.